Hey there. Welcome to Springfield, Missouri. I'm in Bethany's office and happy to do our class together today. So why don't you go ahead and join me? We'll start standing in mountain pose and just coming to our mat, standing tall. This is my first time in this space, so we'll figure out if this works or not. And if I knock something over, we'll just keep going. So as we start in mountain pose, find your strong and sure footing, starting with our foundation. We're rooting down into our feet and wiggling the toes, feel all four corners, maybe even wiggle in and out, side to side, opening up the palms. So find that strength in our legs as we root down, engage a little, standing tall, even open up or lift shoulders towards the ears and relax back and down. We'll take a few breaths here, closing our eyes. And just take our time, slowing down, letting go of all the things to do. There's nothing else to do right now but to be here in this space, set apart, and designated for our time. For even such a time as this. And there's no expectations, nothing else required of you in this moment. So it allows us or gives us that permission to listen to our bodies, bring our focus inward, maybe scan your body, feel your breath where it's traveling. Just become a little more aware, a little more attentive, observant. And as we pay attention to our breath, maybe count to 4 on our inhale and then 4 on our exhale, just to have that as a pattern to kind of attach our brain to that pattern, following the pattern, a rhythm. Sometimes our mind is just kind of going crazy, thinking of all the things to do, or having a challenge just slowing down. So this practice of being still and focusing on our breath doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. It requires discipline and focus and practice over and over again, trying and just reminding ourselves that each time it's going to get a little better, a little easier, and that better is better. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we keep our chin neutral, allow for maximum input, maximum airflow. And then just accentuate or exaggerate. Inhale, the chest is swelling and lifting, maybe even lift your shoulders, and then exhale. Relax shoulders back and down. So there's a little lift and a squeeze, and then release back and down. And just two more of those at your own pace. Adjusting this just a hair. Good. Then go and bring your hands behind your back. Finding a chest expansion option. Maybe your fingers are interlaced. Maybe it's fists in your lower back. Maybe it's just hands at your hips. Or hug the elbows. That's another option that is Still opening up the chest, allowing lots of space between our ears and shoulders. Or another one to try is prayer hands, and see where that takes you today. Prayer hands with our pinkies inside the spine for an inner wrist stretch. Feel that all the way into the elbows. Or can invert the hands, the fingers down, and let your thumbs press into the spine. And then let your palms touch all the way out to the edges. From the thumb side, the inner side, all the way out to the pinkies. So maybe that's where you are for today. Maybe that's where we can begin. Or this chest expansion is really close with our fingers interlaced. Let the arms be long. Let the heart space open. Still keep that strong foundation in our feet. And then as we root down, squeeze the glutes, take your gaze up. Let the eyes stay soft, the jaw relax. And breathe. Maybe even a little smile. Turn up the corners of your mouth. Maybe let the chin lift a little taller. Such a nice, good stretch. More space between the vocal cords. Maybe even move your head a little side to side. Maybe come back to neutral and add in some circles. Let's open up the neck. Let's bring our attention awareness to the neck, to the throat. If you're dealing with any sinus drainage or tickle coughs, these allergies right now and dusty weather stirs up a lot of stuff. And sometimes there's stuff stirring up in our bodies. So stretching helps to move that process along. Even the stretching of lifting our head is creating little pressure here on lymphatic drainage. And then that lymphatic drainage and sinus drainage, all of that working together is going to help it move out of our systems. And we don't want it to stay. We don't want anything lingering. We want it to move on out. Yoga helps bring that into a blessing to our bodies, and that's so amazing. From here, let's come into a half forward fold and can still pick your option with your chest expansion arms. Let our chin be neutral. You can bring your hands to the front of the thighs at any point and sink a little deeper. Take breath here. Let your breath exhale. Squeeze the belly in. Inhale. Relax. I'll do that a couple more times. So on our inhale, your belly fills with air. And then exhale, squeeze and draw in towards the spine. Bringing my shoulders more in line with the hips. Just exaggerate with your breath. Tell your story. And then when you're ready, just ease on into a gentle forward fold. Let's bend our knees and round the spine. And this is where we're going to pause in this area between our half forward fold and a gentle forward fold and move around. Let it just be freestyle, what feels good to you today. Maybe alternate, lift one heel, then the other. Nod your head yes, or just even letting our head hang really loosely. Nodding the head yes, shaking our head no. So we're always we're thinking about reversing that emphasis of what gravitational pull does on our cervical spine with the 8-pound weight of our head on the spine, on the cervical spine, reversing that when we let the head hang loosely. And then just explore from here to Half forward fold, straighten the legs, bend the knees and round. Straighten the legs, exhale. Bending on our inhale. Just keep going, maybe even adding a little bit more in our half forward fold. Walk the hands in a little bit closer, a little bit lower. So you might even explore lengthening behind the legs, behind the knees, hamstrings. Where are you today? Back of the heel, the Achilles tendon. If you've been really working hard and walking a lot, maybe this pedaling the feet, you're finding some sensation, some more awareness. Maybe even kind of lean forward and lean back. So awareness and sensation, we let those be indicators without attaching any judgment. We're letting go of judgment. We're letting go of expectations. We're letting go of our own inner voice, that inner critic. I think go ahead and walk feet and hands apart into our down dog. Down dog. Hello. Our first one of the day, walking feet in place. And just let your down dog again be exploration, curious, lots and lots of length in our arms. Pedal the feet, or maybe raise heels at the same time. Up and down, and then add in a little wag your tail, a little more movement in the hips, or even with our breath, engage the core, draw the belly in. So much we can do in our downward facing dog. So much goodness in an inversion with our head below the heart. Again, bring that awareness into the neck, hanging the head loosely, and that length, all that length, arms, spine, and legs. And so just continue in down dog, and when you're ready, we'll move into child's pose. And at any point, you can come on into child's pose. And maybe child's pose, you want to be still today, or maybe you're moving around in child's pose. Maybe there's more, again, just kind of that freestyle, side to side movements, maybe some arm stretches in child's pose. Can walk both arms over to the right side of the mat. Let your left ear just come inside the left bicep. When you're stretching that arm over, you can even turn your head that direction or switch sides, and then it's right ear into the right bicep. So just take a few minutes here in down dog and child's pose, whatever is good for you. And so for today, a thought that I'm hanging on to that's really encouraging me, that I just loved, that we can let pain be an indicator, not a dictator. So anytime we discover a sensation, especially like when we're warming up, we're first coming into our practice, we're acquainting ourselves with, oh, what did I do this weekend? And why is that feeling a little tight and tense today? Or just even kind of like the pausing and connecting again with our breathing, or down dog. Maybe it's in that first child's pose, walking arms over to one side or the other, or that forward fold, and we're feeling it in our back. Maybe we've walked a lot or lifted a lot this weekend. So just that awareness, let it be an indicator, but it's not a dictator. And it's movable, it's flexible. That's why we are here. We are here to bend so we don't break. All right. So child's pose. Let's move around into kneeling half series from our child's pose. Reach the arms forward as far as you can, and then inhale, kneeling plank. And then come back and forth. Child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, back to child's pose. And in child's pose, alternating feet can curl toes under, let your heels lift, keep your hips a little taller. Inhale, come forward, and then switch, pointy toes, let your tailbone tuck. Let your chin tuck in. Then come back forward, curl, toes under, lift heels, keep the hips a little taller. And then back, inhale forward, and tuck the toes. Just feel that difference. Feel that difference in your feet, in the arches, and the hips. Again, awareness. Maybe there's indicators. Maybe there's sensation lighting up, firing up. Awareness, indicator, not a dictator. Maybe it's in the arches. Maybe you get some of those Charlie horses or spasms. That's okay. Maybe just pause and move a little hip to hip. Work it out. And then from here, we're going to come on into half series. Child's pose, plank, crocodile. And inhale, lifting into cobra. Exhale, child's pose. So continue in that sequence. And flowing with our breath. One breath per movement. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, crocodile. Elbows squeeze in. Nice and strong arms. Inhale, lift cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Maybe even slide your hands back. So in crocodile, that kneeling option, it's a yoga push-up. Make sure your shoulders here are over the wrists, and then bend the elbows, maybe even slide your hands back an inch or half an inch. Really squeeze, 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 squeeze as we lower, and then let your hips come to the mat. So there's lots of work that we can do and that we can build on progressively in that kneeling crocodile, kneeling push-up, yoga push-up, and just flow through one more set. And then we'll use this as our little transition, the half series a lot of times between different sequences, different flows. One more set, and then go ahead and come on up to all fours and cat and cow. Cat and cow again, matching our breath with our movement. Exhaling as we come to cat pose, tuck the tail and the chin. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling cat. And inhale to cow. Keep going, and let's draw in the belly. Exhaling. Squeeze as much as you can your belly up towards the spine. And then inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Good. And then as we come into a neutral spine, transition to down dog. Hover, lift the knees just an inch from the floor. And then slowly lift the hips. Draw the belly in. And let's see. Let's take our left leg tall. Reach it up in a three-legged dog. Raise and lower the right heel. Maybe move that left foot around. Can point and flex and circles. Maybe even take the left foot towards the back of your right hip, your heel towards the back of the hip. Add a little hip opener here. Let's get ready to move, stepping left foot forward. So we're going to raise the right heel and make more space to bring left foot to the front, then walk your hands up to the knee. So we come up to lunge, wardrobe adjustment, and then find your strength here. Lunge with the heel lifting. Is that going to work? Inhale, arms out. And then slowly lifting. Taking our gaze up, we're challenging our balance. And then bringing hands into heart. We'll focus our eyes down and to the left for a left side twist. And then back to center. We'll let the right heel sink flat, opening out the arms, goalpost arms, heart space nice and open. Take the elbows back just a teeny bit more. Squeeze into the hearts, to the shoulder blades. Let's take our gaze up. And then the arms wide. As you reach through your palms of your hands, you can find that length in the inside of the wrists. Slowly bring the hands behind our backs. And we're letting the hands come together. It can be prayer hands, interlacing. Maybe it's fists into the low back or hands at our hips. Heart space nice and open. Let's bring shoulders forward. Keep the back nice and straight. So maybe even look here. Hope I'm not sliding too much. Bringing the shoulders forward in a straight line. Keep the chin neutral. Arms can be nice and straight. It's not about coming down really deep into a forward fold because we want to keep our weight distribution even in both feet. As we move into more of a forward fold, in any position, you're going to bring your weight distribution more to that front foot. So for now, keeping it even, and then release, and we are going to come into a 3-point balance. Reach tall, and then forward fold, lift the right leg into a 3-point balance, just to hip height. And then we'll bend the knee, tuck it in, and hold. Let your back round, the spine, the chin, the tailbone. Ooh, maybe add a wing. Left arm can open out. Make it a 2-point balance. And release. Finding our forward fold. And again, can alternate lifting heels. And then down dog. Maybe pause in down dog if that's where you would like to hang out, or flow through half series. And it can be kneeling option, kneeling plank to crocodile, or maybe a full plank. Well, I don't have enough space to do crocodile. I'll have to come to my knees in my space here, making the space work for me, making adjustments in our poses for our bodies. We can always make adjustments to fit rather than trying to force. Exhale. Child's pose or down dog, or just flow from child's pose to down dog. Take the right leg tall, 3-legged dog. And explore circles. Raise and lower left heel. Maybe a hip opener. And then as we come back to center with our down dog, leg tall, lift the left heel. So we're making space. We're making space to move easier. It's really just using our brain. It's a little smarter. Make space, make height to step left or right foot up to the front. Extending through the left leg, and then we're adding the arms tall in a lunge with the heel lifting. Taking our gaze up. Find where we start to feel shaky, hovering in that space. Back to center, add a twist to the right. As we come back to center, we'll let the left heel come flat, chest expansion, and warrior one. Slowing down, reconnect with our breathing. Because even just that big inhale, count to 4, a big exhale, counting to 4, allows us to catch our breath, but calming the parasympathetic nervous system. Maybe take the gaze up and then bring it forward. So really, there's a whole lot of training going on where we're training our brain, not just our bodies, not just the balance, not just the stretching, not just the strength building, but there's a brain-body connection. It's powerful. When we're breathing, taking those bigger breaths and connecting, it's calming down, bringing that rest and digest, calming down the fight and the flight. And then we're lifting, we'll be sweeping tall, finding our 3-point balance as we bring the arms forward, shoulder width apart, lifting lifting left leg, to hip height, straighten right leg. And this is not like our 3-legged dog where we're lifting up towards the ceiling and the leg we're lifting, but rather just keep it in line with the hip. Work with the breath, engaging the core. Really find a lot of length in that supporting leg, our right leg. Then adding our little dip, curl, bring the knee in, tuck in the chin, and maybe even add a wing. The right arm can reach out wide. And then forward fold. Last week we worked a little bit on wrap or bind in our side angle. So let's make sure we have a hand towel close by. And I should have said that at the beginning. I'm going to use my jacket as my strap. So I'm going to keep my jacket close by, just making it long and skinny, like a little strap. And you can do that too. From here, we're going to move on into warrior two, reversing our swan dive, come up tall. Let's take the right foot back, turn the right toes out to the long side of our mat. Left foot up at the front, bend the knee, wardrobe adjustment, lift the arms to shoulder height. Take your gaze over your left hand. First position in warrior two. Anchor down into our feet, nice and strong, gazing over left hand, and then reverse. As our left arm is reaching, right hand is resting, or cross the midline. Reach behind your back towards the left hip. So we're already starting some of that same initial shoulder rotation that we add into a bind. We've been doing it from the beginning with our chest expansion even. And then come on down. Side angle, left arm to our left thigh. Right arm, reach and open up tall. Maybe circle it. And maybe this is where you want to stay. Maybe the half wrap isn't for you today, or the half bind, that's okay too. I'm not on a mat and my feet are sliding, so I may also modify how much I do today as well. So this is where you can take your hand towel or your jacket in your right hand. Let it dangle, let it hang behind you. Then your left hand is going to come down towards the floor under the leg. Reach back for your hand towel or your strap, and then come back up. Find lots of length here and openness, stacking right shoulder above left. So if we're finding that we're all hunched over, find where you can lengthen. Some of us can reach all the way down there and let the fingertips touch, but then you can't come up. Maybe you're stuck. That's okay. So find, maybe even just using your block here to open up shoulder space and add a shoulder opener instead of the wrap. That's still just a really great option for building that awareness of keeping the shoulders, the chest, heart space nice and open, beautiful. And then we'll lengthen all the way, shoot back through that right foot, come down onto our knee, can add a pad here. Reach the arms tall in a kneeling lunge. And then squishy twist to our left. Bring it all in. And bring your belly, the left ribs into the left thigh, twisting to the left side. I'm turning the wrong direction. I'm going to spin around. Still keeping left knee directly over left ankle. Right leg is lots and lots of length, reaching back. Then let's frame left foot, straightening it, raise and lower the toes. Can't see my toes. Maybe now you can. Good job. Then hold with the toes lifting. And rather than trying to force deeper into a forward fold and bring our head all the way down, let's just pause here. Find as much length through the back of the leg. Breathe. Take a few breaths here. And then just a little, very subtle move of lifting the tailbone. Aligned. Great alignment. You're doing so good. Doing so well. Let's take this into camel pose from here. We'll bring our hands inside, left knee back, coming up on our knees, can have padding under the knees, and then take our gaze up. Squeeze the glutes. Pause and find length. And again, counterposing with cat and cow. Move through those opposite movements in our spine, release tension we've created, and again, awareness. Maybe there's an indicator light going off. That's okay. It's an indicator, not a dictator. I love that. It's such a good reminder all the time. Letting go of judgment and connecting a value with what's going on in our bodies. We have good bodies. We've all been created to do really great things. Sometimes bad news and bad things get stuck in our good bodies, but we get to work it out. And yoga gives us that opportunity to flex and stretch, and twist and breathe and really bring a lot of healing into all those spaces. Lots of space. Good job. We'll travel back to down dog. Hover with knees above the mat. Exhale, lift the hips. We're coming back to warrior two. Can take the right leg tall, step it to the front, and pivot left toes out. First position, arms up at shoulder height, looking over right hand. can also engage the core here. And if you have problems, I don't like to use the word problems because that does sound negative. If you just really don't always feel what's going on and finding that sweet spot with breath work, maybe bring your hands to your belly. Feel your belly expand. Let your fingertips just lightly touch. Bring them in and squeeze. So maybe for today, just feel the muscle work, that corset group, the transverse abdominals that can work in a standing position. We're not even doing crunches here. But that's where we're moving from the core. We're balancing from the core. Reverse your warrior. Take your arm tall. Take your gaze up. And then side angle. We're bringing left arm to the left thigh. Shoulder opener, reach tall. Nice and open. Stack left shoulder above right. You can circle forward, circle back. Keep the shoulder nice and open. Maybe even just that half wrap of letting your left fingertips touch the back of the right hip. Maybe that's a good place to start today. Or if you want to try it with the hand towel or your jacket or whatever works here, you're going to hold it in your left hand and reach under with the right to create a wrap or a bind. You can hold here. Sometimes one shoulder has more flexibility than the other, especially if we're healing, recovering, or had an injury on one side, not the other. So if there's been healing there and you can reach around, that's awesome. Or maybe focus in on a big shoulder opener. Lots of good stuff you can do here. Adjust the pose for you. Finding the geometry and the physics, the math in the pose. See all those nice big angles. And then we're coming down. We're going to let the left knee come to the mat. Low lunge. Inhale, sweep arms tall. Exhale, right side twist. A squishy twist. So really bring your belly, your ribs, left side towards the inner right thigh. That's where twists are beneficial for abdominal organs, for not just the spine, the twist that's going on in our backs. Yoga works us from every angle. Stretching tall, forward fold down, side to side twists, back bend, just all so much goodness. Then we're coming back to that kneeling pyramid, straightening the right leg, raise and lower the toes. And then we're going to hold with the toes lifting, pressing down through the back of the heel. And again, it's not so much about, can I sink all the way down into a big forward fold? But as we flex and align, we protect the joints and still are finding lots of length in a healthy space. So let's make space in healthy ways. Maybe lift the tailbone here. Draw the belly in. Just bring a little more attention, a little more intention, a little more awareness. From here to camel pose on both knees. Can add padding under our knees or even folding your mat. Give yourself a little double, triple fold there under the knees. Coming up. Find your hands opening up the chest. So maybe it's chest expansion, prayer hands. Reaching back, kind of hugging the elbows behind your back. With our feet flat, pointy toes, we've got, 5 to 8 inches, depending on the length of your feet, that adds to your foundation for balance. Or if you want to reach back with flexibility, curl the toes under, reach your right hand back to the top of the right heel. Left hand can open, big shoulder opener, or maybe even left hand reaching back. You can do one at a time to left heel, reach right arm up, or if you want to reach both hands back. Just see where that is for you today. Doesn't have to be big, but we do want it to be safe. We want it to be strong. We want it to be flexible. Back bends are good for invigorating and creating fresh blood flow, so they stimulate. And let's come back into some cat-cow movement. Flow. This feels good after a lot of time in the car this weekend, or moving stuff if you're doing some fall gardening. Maybe you've just been at the fair on the weekend, sitting in the football stadium seat watching a game. Lots of good stuff, just life. So we get to process these things through our movement. And then when you're ready, you can come back to child's pose, finding length. Reach the arms tall. And let our forehead rest. Maybe it's puppy pose with stacked fists and our hips a little taller over the knees. That's another great option. You can also lift the tailbone. Lengthen the pelvic floor. Create a little more toning or a little more tautness in the pelvic floor when we lift the tailbone, lift the hips. Benefits to both. Or that rabbit pose where we're coming up and then let the crown of our head come to the mat and just rock forward a teeny bit. Rock back and forth. Just very gently. So we're really doing a big stretch up the back of the cervical spine without weight bearing, this is not a headstand. We're just back and forth. Stretch the neck. Keep it in alignment. Keep it like locked into that space. And cradle your hands there. Good. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and swing the feet around. Come on to our backs. We'll come into a cool down on our backs. And let's just start to bring our knees in, give ourselves a hug. And rock a little side to side. We're bringing our right ankle to the left knee. Right arm can come through the middle. Or this is where if you want to have your hand towel, like a strap, take it behind your left leg to bring the legs in a little bit closer. That's just another option there for the benefits of making the arms longer. Holding a pose where we can still relax. Back of the head, shoulders all onto our mat. If we're rounding up like this, we're really clenching and we're really keeping the neck very super tight. So relax the back of our head to the mat. Let the arms be longer. Use your strap here if that's a tendency that you might see yourself wanting to do. Sometimes it's just like unconsciously doing that, rounding up and really holding it tight when we want to create softness and length all through the neck to shoulders, chin neutral, back of the head on the mat. And then guide your knees over to our left side. You can do a figure four twist, spinal twist, or maybe stack the knees on top of each other. Or maybe straighten the left leg if you want to go into a more traditional spinal twist. Find the option, what works good for you today. And then in that space, find more softness, more relaxation, turning off those areas that feel tense and tight. And sometimes that means progressive body scan. Go ahead and squeeze and then release. And squeeze again, squeeze the glutes. See if you are soft enough. See if it is, or if you're still holding on and don't even realize it. So those little practices build our awareness. It doesn't just make us feel so super relaxed and so good. Yes, that's a good feeling, but there is a method, there is a reason that works, that we can incorporate and sprinkle in other positions on the mat as well as off the mat in life. Become more aware of when we hold tension in our bodies throughout the day. Yoga isn't just for an hour. It's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. Good. Then come back to center and hug the knees. We'll be switching sides, bringing our left ankle over to the right knee. And bring the knees in. Again, there's softness, relaxation, the jaw. Our eyes feel soft. And then we're finding our favorite twist for today. Maybe the knees in our figure 4 option, or stack the knees on top of each other. Or right leg can be more straight. And when you're ready, coming onto your back, hug the knees, rock a little side to side. Start to find your final resting pose. You can rest on your back, maybe a butterfly with soles of the feet together, hip opener. Maybe if you have the wall available, you can come into legs up the wall, just turning. Legs can be straight and just start there. Goalpost arms open out wide. Just letting the legs, the top of the legs fitting into the hip sockets with alignment. That's why it's like going to the chiropractor and getting manipulated and adjusted, only without that. We can do this with stretching in alignment, supported. Humongous benefit of legs up the wall. As our hips and our spine and our shoulders, our head are all supported and straight, perfect posture. And this aligns the top of the leg into the hip socket. allows SI joint to be level. Sometimes that's where we're a little wonky, a little bit off, or a little crooked in the hips. But that affects everything. That affects your flexibility. It affects your mobility. It affects those indicators that might be firing up. Or in other words, it might create a little pain. Legs up the wall offers all of that alignment and adjustment without any actual manipulation. Doing it regularly really brings alignment into the spine and the hips, the legs. Our legs up the wall. Feel free to change the leg position if you want to open wide or half a straddle. Can do one leg wide and the other leg towards the ceiling. Maybe another figure four or half butterfly. Just any of those options. Hip openers. Just take advantage of the alignment. The muscles are warm. And finding what is best for you today in your body. And just start to wiggle fingers and toes, can stretch a little, and as you feel ready, can move to a sideline position. Come on up to seated. And as we're sitting tall, we can circle our head one direction and then the other. And then from the center, we can inhale and reach. Exhale, prayer hands to heart. And thank you. Thank you for allowing me to bring this to you from Springfield, and for us to be here with our daughter. And she wanted Mike to come, so we waited till Sunday, and here we are in Springfield. Thank you for being with us in this space, and for all the prayers being lifted up. And she's going to be okay. And we're just glad that we could be here. So thank you for technology. Thank you for joining me with some yoga this morning, and have a blessed day.